So the year was 2006. What a year. Twitter sent out its first tweet. You could actually start friending people on Facebook. And That 70s Show had its last episode. And I had just gone through a huge breakup, or as huge as it could be at 19 years old. Oh my God, my first love. But I didn't really know what love was at all at this point. I just had someone who told me they thought I was cute. And I was like, she's pretty cute too. Met her mom, she met my mom. They became friends. It's cool, it's all happened, we break up. I thought I was really sad. But then I realized I wasn't in love with that girl. Because I finally felt love at first sight. The first time that I saw her, the bluest of sweetest of eyes. She was just floating on cloud 9, which actually was a weed cloud that she had smoked up in the quad area. This was before weed was legalized, and she was smoking indoors. She was hardcore. I saw her and I fell so, you know when your shoulders start swooning before you know, like you're just like, oh my goodness, all the love stories you'd ever heard about before. Why were there so many comedy love stories, all this like romantic comedies happening? Why did they exist? Because of these moments. And I saw her and I was so excited to meet her, but I always didn't have the most confidence, so I turned to my cousin at that moment. I said to him, yo man, a girl that pretty would never be with a guy like me. And my cousin says to me, yeah, man. Literally no chance. Not at all. My friends give me all these tips on how to get a girl's attention, and this was the days of the pickup artist. So you do like weird things like negging, where you'd start complimenting them and take it away and then it's just very confusing. I didn't even know what was going on, right? They give me all this information. One of the guys was like, yo, always just have a scarf and then let her try it on and tell her she looks like shit. And I was like, that's mean. And he's like, yeah, but you get the girl. And I'm like, I don't know if I could do this, man. I don't know if I could do this. Seems wrong to me. And then someone's gonna tweet it out. I don't know what's happening, right? This is too much. So I end up seeing her in the hall one day. And then in the cafeteria, they're having this huge pumpkin pie eating contest. And I see her, she walks up with the glossiest, reddest of eyes, and those blue piercing eyes shone through all of that haze that was in her life. And she sits down and starts eating the pie before it even starts. And they're like, wait, 1 second. And she's like, I don't have to eat the crust, do I? And I was like, that is the weirdest request I've ever heard in my life, but I can't stop looking at her. And I hear my friends behind me with their, yo, neg that shit. And I'm like, this is probably wrong, but I start heckling her, saying that she's cheating because she's not eating the crust the way that all the other competitors are doing. And then she starts like eyeing me angrily, her friends yelling at me, and then I leave that day being like, I think she hates me. I don't know if I did that right? My God. What if she, and before I even can process all this stuff, I was walking out of my residence, she was walking in from the cafeteria, and we bump into each other. I almost knock her over, and at that moment, my friend nudges me from behind. He's like, you know, like, do something. And I was like, oh man, that'd be hilarious if I knocked her on her ass, eh, guys? And then she's just fuming, so angry that this asshole who 2 times now in front of multiple people embarrassed her, made her feel terrible, and she's huffing off with her friend, and I'm laughing, but I really deep inside just want to kiss her. Just want to hold her hand. I had no idea how I got sucked into these fucked up games, you know? I was like, why are these mind games happening? But for some reason, I got pulled into them. And I never revealed this previously, but at this time, in this time of weed being very underground, I was also a weed dealer. I probably should have told you that at the beginning. So I was selling weed I'm not selling weed anymore, guys, calm down. So I was selling weed at the time, and I had quite the quite the setup here. I had a couple of people who would show up at my door, and then I would give them weed, and then they would distribute it to their... Okay, I was a huge dealer, guys. It was crazy. I was way too big for my own good. If I got caught, I would have gone to jail, guys. Okay, so I had this huge operative, this whole situation that was happening. My mom kept buying me Ziploc bags, is what I'm saying. It was a lot of weed, okay? So, it's crazy amounts of Ziploc bags, like freezer bags, man. Okay, so, I ended up having one of the people who were one of my dudes who was selling weed for me, and he's like, oh man, I can't actually come and get the weed from you today. Is it possible for you to drop it off at my girl's room? And I was like, I don't really like doing deliveries. It's really like sketchy, but you know, this is a good guy. He's never asked me to do this before. I'll do it this one time, right? So I bring this giant amount of weed. I'm walking through the halls, and then I end up at this random door. And it was like this crazy poster on it, and it just looked really psychedelic, definitely someone who does a lot of drugs. And then I knock on the door, and she opens the door. The bluest of sweetest of eyes opens the door, and she has had enough of my shit. She just starts laying into me, bringing up this whole around the corner thing, the pumpkin pie thing, and she's just laying to me. What's wrong with you? Why are you making me feel so terribly? And before she can even finish her sentence, I don't even know what to say at this point. I just blurt it out. I'm just like, it's because I like you. And that's very forward at this time. This is the pickup artist era, guys. This is like some really vulnerable thing at a 19-year-old boy. I'm just like, it's because I like you so much. And she just started blushing. And for a girl so Caucasian, she blushed really hard. Very red. It's like when I drink booze, guys. It's very red. So she sits down on the bed, and we started chatting and talking about love, life, weed especially. She really liked weed, and she was like, how much weed do you have? And I was like, enough that we could have a pillow fight tomorrow. She was like, that's amazing. I'm actually going to a party. Did you want to bring a lot of weed and we can smoke it? And I was like, that's the best thing about weed is smoking it. She's like, yeah. And then we just started smoking more weed. It was great, right? And then, so that's why it's a marijuana love story. We just love weed, right? So we go to this party, and I have this giant bag of weed, right? And we show up, and then out of nowhere, someone just puts their hand into the bag and pulls out this giant weed mustache. And this was right when Facebook was happening, so it was the first selfie. I think I saw it. It was the guy, he had one of those really weird cameras that when you turned them on, the front part would come out, and he was trying to take a picture of himself with it. And he was like, oh my God, right? And we took 18 pictures with this weed mustache that night. We made it into a little scrapbook, sent it off to all our friends, and it was our favorite thing because it was a little art project that me and Jen had. I finally knew her name. I finally connected with her. I was finally at a party with her. Oh my God, we have to sleep over at this party. Oh, I start thinking about that. I start sweating a lot. I start worrying about this. I start smoking more, so I'm like trying to not think about this. And then the end of the night happens. And she was the only girl in our crew, so we ended up asking her if she wanted the couch. And I took off my sweater and was like, yeah, I guess I'll just sleep on the floor here. And before I even put my head down, she grabs my hand and she pulls me to the couch. And I'd been in a relationship before, but I never felt what love felt like. And what I truly felt was love at that moment was when she was pulling me into her arms onto the couch. It felt like I was falling into her life, into her light, into everything that she had ever wanted in someone. I was there with her. And we slept that night, her in my arms, mine in hers. And I couldn't stop thinking about all of these ideals of what I had in all of these movies, all these music videos, everything that I thought was love. In this moment, it was waking up with someone, both of us drooling and then laughing about it. That's what I noticed at that moment. It's these little things they don't tell you in these movies, right? And she goes off and she starts washing the dishes, because she's sweet, and she's washing the dishes, we're cleaning up, and we're standing at the sink, and she looks out into this tiny little window. I'll never forget, this window was exactly like they had in the movies. If they put a pie at the front of it, it would have been the perfect cooling area. And there was this park, little play structure behind this window, and she turns to me as she's washing these dishes, and she says to me, I could see our kids playing in that yard. This was the first night that we had spent side by side. This was this incredible moment where I realized that I loved this person. Now, I couldn't think about anything else except being in her arms again, and she's now telling me, reciprocating, even elevating this love that she had for me. And I was so excited. I was so overwhelmed, and I was so confused because that was really fast. That was literally the first night, guys. That was holy shit, right? I was like, whoa. And we ended up going back to school. And we spent a lot of days together until the end of the year. And as many romances happen when you're 19 or 20 years old, they end. And many years later, I ended up meeting up with her again. But that has to be for another day. So thank you guys so much for paying attention. I know it's supposed to end really dramatically. Okay, fine, we dated later. Okay. Guys, give a big round of applause for Marsha, though. I have to get out of here. I really appreciate you guys paying attention, and smoke weed every day, guys. Peace.